ladies and gentlemen, Jason's coming back to play. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Sunday Fun Day. And for today we are going to be doing another easy fix. So since just last Tuesday I did a Super Series Tuesday on the original Friday the 13th, I figured it was appropriate to fix this mess of a franchise up. Now I'm not going to be picking apart the franchise bit by bit and going over every movie, just overall what would fix it, and by that basically I mean the inevitable reboot, what I would do to basically get this franchise on the right track and really make it something special. But I really do feel like that if they made a Friday the 13th reboot like this, it would not only make box office numbers, which is the main thing that they want when they do these reboots, but it would also actually be a well-received movie. I know, shocker, right? So to kick off right from the basics, the first thing that this movie would need to be a really good reboot is set it right back in the 80s where it belongs. Don't have it in today's where you have to fill in all those cliched plot holes like why can't they use their cell phones, why can't they do this, why can't they do that, they all have computers, laptops, this, that, like iWatches. No, cut all that modern day crap out. It doesn't need to be in there. It just creates complications and then lazy ways to solve those complications. Easy fix, set it right back in the 80s, because that seems to be the thing everyone's doing nowadays anyway. Set it in the 80s, everyone's loving their little nostalgia trips, so let's just keep that train rolling, set it back in the 80s so it gets rid of all those technological complications. So firstly, the way I would do this movie, the way I would bring this group in and everyone together is have kind of a half and half group. Half the group being kind of juvenile delinquents, but really just a group of teens sentenced to community service, and then a group of maybe teens mixed with a couple of older people being camp counselors. And of course, camp counselors and teenagers who are doing community service are going to be grouped together to fix up Camp Crystal Lake in order to reopen it. So that's how we have people getting together. We're not having these, happy-go-lucky do-gooder teens like we did in the original. We are having these people that are forced to do this. So that gives right away a bit of kind of on-edge aspect to it. Now the main thing about this movie that I know is going to come as a huge shocker to all of you, but I want to try to make a horror movie, a slasher movie, where you actually care about the characters. Insane, I know, right? I must have lost my mind. No, hear me out. Make this so you actually care about these people. Now, of course, I don't want to set it up like that right away. I want all these people to be stereotypical as they possibly can. I want you to have the jock. I want you to have the nerdy girl who's like cute but doesn't know it. I want you to have the girl that shows herself off. The couple that does things together all the time. Have the kind of nerdy bookworm quiet guy. Have the kind of goth guy. Things like that. But regardless, have these stereotypical characters on the top. But once bodies start dropping, things start coming back up, and those feelings and the emotions that these people carry, the weight that they carry with them, and I really want these people to bond over how broken they are. They all have problems at home, and that is my idea for this. So the jock would have a kind of sports perfectionist dad who's hard on him all the time, and someone else, maybe they lost their father early on, he left, or maybe their mother was a prostitute of sorts, or maybe they only live with their brother, or maybe they had, an abusive uncle, things like that. So these people really bond over just how broken they are. I genuinely want you to try and care about these people. So with that, of course, it would be a longer Friday the 13th movie than we've ever had. I would guess that it would clock in about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, based on my general ideas that I have for it right now. But that is what is required to actually care about these people. The next big thing I want to do, and this is going to get more and more controversial as it goes along, is I want to bring back the mystery of the original. For people who don't know, spoiler alert for the original 1980 Friday the 13th, it's Pamela Voorhees, Mrs. Voorhees, Jason Voorhees' mother, that is the original killer. Now, a lot of people might not know that because from every movie then on, it is Jason and, of course, the hockey mask, the machete. They're iconic at this point, but a lot of people don't realize that that's the way the original Friday the 13th wrong. Drew Barrymore didn't even realize it in the first Scream, and that's why she died. But that's something I really want to bring back. Now, here's my twist. That's the main thing. You want to market this movie like you don't know. You don't show Jason, you don't show Mrs. Voorhees, you don't show whoever it is. You just have the first person views, the people dying, the people getting scared, getting dragged away off camera, but keep that mystery in there as to who the killer is. So my idea is that it is going back to the original with being Mrs. Voorhees, but with the added twist that there is a Jason-like character in this, who is going to be named Josh Voorhees. Now, for those of you who don't know, Josh is Jason's original name. That's who the character was originally going to be, Josh Voorhees, the killer, but they switched to Jason because Jason sounded more menacing, and I believe that was the writer's or director's school bully, so that's why they switched it to Jason. But my idea would be that after, Pamela Voorhees was so distraught over losing her son, she had another son named Josh, who was equally as deformed and menacing and tall and large. So it would kind of go back and forth. Even during the movie, it would throw the audiences off. Some of the kills would be a little more stealthy like they were in the original, and some others would be just people getting absolutely brutalized and butchered. Like, how could Mrs. Voorhees do it? It's obviously going to be Jason, but that's the twist, is that it's Josh instead. Now, some people, you might absolutely hate that twist. Some people, you might absolutely love it. The reason I went with that twist is because I feel like that's the only way you're going to keep modern audiences intrigued. If you went with another Jason movie, it would just be another Friday the 13th, another Jason movie, whatever. And then if you went with the original and just did it Pamela Voorhees again, well then you just did the same movie that we've already had before, and it's just Pamela Voorhees again. So I really feel like having this added twist would make the movie much more intriguing, whether the twist paid off, people hated it, loved it. I feel like even the journey through with the marketing and going through the movie, trying to decipher it yourself, would add an extra layer to this movie that hasn't been in any other Friday the 13th. And some other slight changes to the story is at the beginning it would open up revealing that just a little ways off down a pathway actually is a house where the Voorhees originally lived, and the Voorhees are actually the people who own Camp Crystal Lake. It would also be revealed that Jason is deformed. I would have a lot of the beginning opening scene. This would be the very opening of the movie, not fully seeing Jason's face. You might see kind of slight reflections. You would see that he has a bit of the deformed head like he did in the original, but anytime he kind of turns his head to look at something, the camera pans around, he won't talk, he won't do anything. But the big thing is that he is an abusive, drunken father who thinks Jason is his mistake, doesn't pay much attention to him. Mrs. Voorhees goes out for groceries, drunken dad falls asleep or passes out drunk. Then Jason, of course, hears all the kids playing at the camp. He can't go there, right? He doesn't look like the other kids. Father's too embarrassed of him, so on and so forth, so won't let him go. So he sneaks out, and then as he goes, of course, a couple of kids spot Jason trying to go to the camp and play in the water. What they do? Scream. He's a monster. He looks ugly. You don't really see that quite yet. The kids go to try to get the camp counselor's attention, and of course there's two counselors, a guy and a girl, and they're, doing the dirty. That's when it happens. Jason going down the dock, the wharf there, he gets towards the end, he's down there, he's just touching the water ever so lightly with his hands, he's loving it, having the time of his life, the board breaks, he falls, and of course you get that iconic shot of him drowning, with the popping in and out of the water. Of course the camp counselors are off doing their thing, the two are kind of intercut to show how they're just not paying attention whatsoever, and this kid is literally dying. The movie would open on that darker tone. Again, this would be a much more realistic, much darker take overall on the franchise, but that would be the way that I open it, so you have that whole family aspect with the Voorhees, not just things that are randomly thrown in there. And at some point throughout the movie too, you would have a flashback. But after Pamela Voorhees finds out that's what happened, that's why the murders happened, she won't let anyone go back, just like in the original, won't let the teens do it, she's delusional, all that stuff. And then she is shown in a flashback that is somehow in the movie that she offed her husband after she was able to become pregnant. I know it's a very dark, twisted tale, but that's the way I want to go with this movie, and then of course the ending would be the same. At some point I would have Josh die off and be officially killed, and then it would end up on the waterfront and Mrs. Voorhees would have her head hacked right off, but then it would end, of course, with the cliffhanger. I actually do have ideas for a trilogy of movies, but it would end after a solid trilogy like most should. And of course, that would be either the end credits scene or the end scene of the movie. The big boot comes down and the hand comes down, grabs the decapitated head of Mrs. Voorhees, and it's leading into, hey, Jason actually is still out there. So overall, yes, it would be a much darker movie, but the main thing I want to get across is the character-driven aspect. So basically, the way I see this movie and the way I kind of wrote it is the fact that it would be a Breakfast Club, essentially, meets Friday the 13th, but like a much more darker, gruesome Friday the 13th. So those are my thoughts and ideas, folks, on a Friday the 13th reboot. So let me know what you think. Of course, if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know then what you think of my ideas. Do you think that would make a great reboot? Do you think it would make a crappy reboot? What are your ideas for a reboot? Or do you think there should even be a reboot? I don't want there to be, but I'm pretty sure it's inevitable at this point. There always is a reboot. And be sure to hit me up on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And always be sure to hit up my Instagram page on Friday for the Fan Vote Friday. Round 2 of the Halloween Challenge just concluded. Be sure to check back on Friday, October 19th for the 3rd round of the Halloween Challenge, where we have the final 4 facing off. As always, folks, thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. Haha, I'm Jason, and this is the wrong